Welcome back to Facts and More. For years, the Netflix series Stranger Things has defined modern pop culture, brilliantly blending sci-fi horror with pitch-perfect 80s nostalgia. The world of Hawkins, Indiana, and the terror of the Upside Down feel instantly recognizable, a loving homage to the great directors and writers who defined the 1980s. But beneath the surface of every Demogorgon attack and every heartfelt moment between the party, there are layers of production secrets, happy accidents, and deep-cut lore that even the most devoted fans often miss. The Duffer Brothers didn't just create a show, they crafted a historical tapestry, but sometimes the most interesting threads are the ones that were almost cut entirely. We've compiled 8 of the most transformative facts, from the original pitch that got rejected by 15 different places, to the accidental creation of the show's most beloved relationships. Let's dive in and uncover the true hidden history of this monumental Netflix series. 1. The real-life conspiracy that inspired the core plot. The genesis of Stranger Things is rooted in something far more terrestrial than the Upside Down. It's based on a real-life Cold War conspiracy theory. The entire concept for the series was originally titled Montauk, a reference to its planned setting in Montauk, Long Island, New York. This location was specifically chosen because of the infamous Montauk Project urban legend. This alleged government program claimed that in the 1980s, classified experiments were conducted on children, involving child abduction, psychic warfare, mind control, and opening rifts in space-time. This chilling real-world mythos served as the foundational bedrock for the entire show. The similarities are striking. The secret experiments on children, the creation of a powerful psychokinetic child, Hour 11, and the accidental tear into a parallel dimension. The Duffer Brothers realized that while the conspiracy theory provided the perfect, dark fuel for their sci-fi horror plot, setting the show in a fictional location, Hawkins, Indiana would give them creative freedom and avoid disrespecting the local residents of the actual Montauk. 2. The original plan for Steve Harrington. This fact is perhaps the biggest happy accident in the show's entire run, forever altering the trajectory of several main characters. When he was first conceived, Steve Harrington was simply meant to be a throwaway teen antagonist. He was written as the quintessential 80s movie jock, a genuinely irredeemable character who would serve his purpose in creating conflict for Nancy Wheeler and Jonathan Byers. Crucially, Steve was fully slated to die in the first season, sacrificing himself in some heroic or perhaps cowardly way that would solidify Nancy and Jonathan's relationship. However, the magnetic performance of actor Joe Keery completely derailed the original script. The Duffer Brothers noticed the unexpected layers of vulnerability and charm Keery brought to the role, seeing a potential for growth beyond the initial cliché. They made the pivotal decision to not only spare Steve's life but to gradually transform him into one of the most beloved characters, culminating in his protective babysitter role. This change didn't just save Steve, it created the hilariously dysfunctional and universally adored dynamic with Dustin Henderson. That iconic, unplanned bromance that provided much of the show's comedic heart in Season 2 and beyond would never have existed if Steve had stuck to the original plan and been killed off. His survival is a testament to the power of a great performance changing the fate of a show. 3. Hopper and Joyce were cast against initial plans. While it is impossible to imagine anyone else in the roles, the initial concepts for Chief Jim Hopper and Joyce Byers were slightly different, leading the Duffer Brothers to consider other high-profile actors. In early pitches to networks, names like Sam Rockwell were mentioned for Jim Hopper, and stars such as Naomi Watts or Marissa Tomei were discussed for Joyce. The Duffers were searching for actors who could immediately convey the show's unique tone-grounded realism mixed with extreme, fantastical peril. The eventual casting of David Harbour and Winona Ryder was a stroke of genius that elevated the characters beyond the page. Ryder, in particular, brought an intense, almost frantic determination to Joyce Byers that shaped the character's journey. She was instrumental in developing the show's aesthetic, advocating for the Christmas lights seen as a method for Joyce to communicate with the trapped Will Byers. This idea channeled the frantic determination of Richard Dreyfuss's character in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, adding an immediate layer of 80s nostalgia and cinematic reference. Ryder didn't just play the role. She defined the paranoid, loving mother archetype that became one of the series' most crucial emotional anchors, making it impossible to imagine any other actor in the part. 4. Gaten Matarazzo's immediate casting. The casting process for The Party was exhaustive, involving over 200 auditions, with the young hopefuls often reading scenes from classic 80s, coming-of-age films like Stand By Me and E.T., to test their chemistry and emotional depth. Yet, amidst this massive search, actor Gaten Matarazzo, who plays the clever and quick-witted Dustin Henderson, was cast almost instantly. The Duffer Brothers were reportedly captivated by his single audition tape, recognizing a unique and immediate authenticity that stood out even among hundreds of talented young performers. Furthermore, Gaten has a real-life genetic condition called cleidocranial dysplasia, which affects the development of bones and teeth. Instead of asking him to conceal this condition, the Duffer Brothers made the creative and compassionate decision to incorporate it directly into Dustin's character arc, referencing it early in the show and using it to explain his distinctive physical traits. This move not only gave the character a grounded layer of realism, but also allowed Gaten to fully embrace his identity on screen. 5. The Demogorgon was a mostly practical effect. In an age dominated by CGI, one of the most crucial facts regarding the terrifying visual identity of Stranger Things in its debut season is that the Demogorgon was largely a practical effect. The monster, named after a Dungeons & Dragons beast by the kids, was brought to life by a movement specialist actor, Mark Steger, wearing an extremely detailed and elaborate suit, complete with stilts to increase the creature's height and unsettling gait. This was a conscious decision by the Duffer Brothers to lean deeply into their source material, the great sci-fi horror films of the 1980s, which relied on tangible, on-set prosthetics and animatronics. Think Alien or The Thing. The rationale was simple. A physical, slime-dripping monster standing opposite the actors would provide a more genuine sense of terror and help ground the fantastical elements. While later, larger creatures like the Mind Flayer and Vecna required heavy computer generation, the tactile physical presence of the Season 1 Demogorgon is what sold the show's dark premise and established its commitment to that authentic 80s nostalgia horror vibe. 6. The real history of the Upside Down's creation. The mythology of the Upside Down is the central complex puzzle of the series, and its true origin was finally unveiled in Season 4, clarifying years of fan speculation. It is not an ancient dimension that simply coexisted with ours. The show's lore established that the desolate, decaying mirror world is a direct result of two catastrophic events. First, Henry Creel, who becomes Vecna, was banished by Eleven through the dimensional rift in 1979, landing in a hellscape that likely was Dimension X. Second, in November 1983, when Eleven made a psychic connection with the Demogorgon during her training at Hawkins National Laboratory, she simultaneously tore open the first major gate and imprinted the dimension with a copy of Hawkins as it existed at that precise moment. This crucial fact explains why the Upside Down is a perfect, static mirror of the town, perpetually covered in spores and gloom, but why it remains stuck in the year 1983, with the Starcourt Mall and other later additions not appearing. 7. Eleven's first kiss disappointment. Despite all the intense sci-fi horror and high-stakes action involving the Demogorgon and the Mind Flayer, the emotional core of the series lies in the relationships between the party, particularly the bond between Eleven and Mike Wheeler. Their first kiss, a sweet moment at the snowball dance that capped off the emotional tension of Season 1, became an iconic scene. However, the behind-the-scenes reality of filming that scene was a bit less romantic for the young actors. Millie Bobby Brown later recalled that immediately after the first take, she had a very teenage disappointed reaction, exclaiming that kissing sucks, and that the experience was not as magical as her character's arc implied. This hilarious reaction, contrasting with the serious nature of their heroics, speaks to the unique challenge of having young actors grow up on screen and experience these milestones while simultaneously saving the world from the Upside Down. 8. Nancy was covered in real goo for the Upside Down. While the show utilizes state-of-the-art visual effects, the Duffer Brothers often prefer practical effects to ground the more horrifying elements in reality, a classic trope of 80s nostalgia filmmaking. This dedication to physical reality was particularly evident in the scenes where Nancy Wheeler, Natalia Dyer, and Jonathan Byers traverse the terrifying environment of the Upside Down. For the scene where Nancy crawls through the slimy organic gate to enter the other side, the production team ensured the experience was physically repulsive. She was reportedly covered in various sticky, viscous materials, a concoction of slime and nether goo, and had to crawl through a real physical tree prop on set that was designed to look like a living portal. From an accidental hero in Steve Harrington to a villain rooted in a 1980s conspiracy, the secrets of Stranger Things are as rich and layered as the Upside Down itself. The dedication of the Duffer Brothers to 80s nostalgia and character truth is what makes this a series that will endure long after the gate is finally closed in the final season. Like and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any new exciting facts. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to keep those Christmas lights ready, just in case.